Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Let's get back to work on the Fokker D.VII. Alright, before we begin, let me give you a little heads up. I've been really busy at work, so there's been very little time down here in the shop. So I'm just trying to get everything slowly put together, just once again, so I could try to get you guys a video, like hopefully every other week. So let me show you where I'm at today. What I'm doing, and I don't know if I can get the camera on this good enough. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the little spot where I've got to cut the holes out in the top of the cylinder head. Now the easiest way for me to do that, so that way I knew that everything was going to be lined up, what I did was I made a little dot right here at the very top of the arc. And then to make sure that this piece of carbon fiber tubing with a little mark put on the very top was properly centered and not rolling back and forth, I did this to it. I just took some tri-stock and went ahead and just glued it to a piece of masking tape, so that way I'm not doing anything to the carbon fiber. So this is all taken, put into place, and then I just put a little dot on the very top. I came in with a little square, went one direction, made a mark, other direction, made a mark, and then I just kind of fattened it up a little bit and just wanted to be right about in the middle of that little teeny tiny dot. So I just went ahead and took care of all 6 cylinder heads. Now, what I have to do with this is, because these things are going to be ground out, I'll come in with the Dremel, a little cut, not a cutoff wheel, just a little sanding, one of those just little sanding drums. And I'm just going to get really close to this line. I don't want to hit the line, just because I want to have it as snug as possible when I put it together. Now the problem with this, and when you look at the way that the thing is set up, you do have pretty much an 1/8 inch of material right here of the balsa. So when this thing sits down in here, it's not rounded at the bottom. So what I'm going to have to do is, once this is all, this little, pretty much it's just like I said, it's just a U shape. So when I get done grinding these things out, it's just kind of look like a little entrance to an igloo. So what I will have to do, of course, is just come in, I'll make marks on this top piece, because these haven't been glued together yet, and they will before I do this. I will have put some little marks down here, come in with the same little drum sander, and just very slowly edge it down. Just make the arc on the bottom so that the tube can fit in and sit flush and and look better. So let me go ahead, get the little Dremel tool out and start cutting these things, and then as soon as I get these things pretty much cut out pretty good so it fits over the top, because I just want to make sure that when it slides down on the top of this, it just fits really nicely. So once these are all taken care of, then I'll go ahead and I'll bring you back in, and I'll try to walk you through the process I'm going to have to take very carefully to get that bottom piece properly rounded out. After many hours of creating tons and tons of sawdust, making up new swear words, I've got this somewhat ready to start gluing together, just parts of it, because certain parts you can't glue until I make the mount up underneath or on top of the cowling, and what I'm going to have to cut out to make it fit. So, and that's going to be it's going to be the very next step, because you can see I've already got these pieces into place, and there's 5 little dots in each one, because I'm going to epoxy this down, because I don't want to mess with CA period with trying to get everything properly aligned. This piece right here, I also have dots, and there we go, on each one. Same thing, we're going to give it tooth. So this one is set up and everything is in the correct location, and when this gets glued into place, she's going to look like that. And of course, this piece up in the middle can come out, or if I really just care to, I can leave it in there. They say to take it out, but you know, who knows? It will slide in and out. I just want to take a little bit of pretty much the outside diameter. It's just a little bit too firm going through, but I think I can make it work. All right, and then jumping on over to the muffler, the exhaust pipe. The changes I had to make to this one to make it fit. And you know, you kind of look at it from this side, looks pretty nice. And you look at it from this side, you said, what did you do there? I had to make some major modifications to it. There will be some filler put in, but most of this you're not going to see, because once it gets slid into the side, into cylinder number 1, it all disappears. And that's the side that looks pretty ugly. See, when you slide it out, it looks ugly. You slide it on in, and it's all concealed, so you're never going to see it, so it's probably just going to stay exactly the way it is. But at least I've got the right angle, the way it's coming out. Now, the problem I'm going to have with this one is the motor, because I decided to go with a 4-stroke. We got the push rods going up to the top, and that's where the valves are at. So what's going to happen, part of this up here is going to disappear. And this is where it's going to be one of those things where, at what height do I want to have it sticking out of the cowling? The way it's looking, I can have it where the part of the front cylinder, not the front cylinder, because it's only one cylinder, where the valves are at, up on the top. Part of this is going to have to be removed, about maybe halfway down, and only part of it. So, because of the way this thing's going to go in and the strength of this, if I have to do a little bit of reinforcing, I can do a little bit of reinforcing. But I do have all the exhaust tubes coming out of each side that once they get glued into position, that's going to add strength too. So just part of this is going to have to come out the bottom and possibly up, and have to grind a little bit of this off too. But it is just a fake exhaust, so it does not really matter. So let me go ahead, get this glued up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Then it's on to step 12 or 13 or whatever you have to do to get this thing ready to mount. All right, didn't forget about you. Conundrum number whatever. All right, here's what I had to do. You can see I had everything put together, glued up, ready to go ahead and pretty much put the exhaust on. So we were ready to go. Now I knew I was going to have to make changes. Didn't know it was going to be this big. Had to cut that much so far out of the front. Now what this is going to do is it's going to come in here, and I knew it was going to have to cradle over the top of the valve cover. So we're going to sit like this, and now it's straight. So this is perfectly placed. The height, I'm okay with the height. We can work with that. If you see that little spot right there, that's going to create another conundrum, which I had a feeling that was going to come up. So I'm going to have to try to figure out how I'm going to morph this exhaust into here and try to somewhat keep it from hitting, the valve cover. It's going to be really tough. I think I'm just going to have to put it together and make it look as good as I can. And we're going to kind of have to go with that. So I'm going to need to try to figure out what I can put in here to go ahead and glue this into position, such just like this. So what I'll do is I'll cut a wedge out of here, I guess. I'm going to have to figure this one out. Cut a section out so that at least we can get part of this thing here sliding through, so I can glue it into this portion right here. And then just have it come up so it almost touches here, but it's not really touching the valve body. Excuse me. Not really touching the valve cover. So let me go ahead, make a couple quick calls on what I want to do on this one, and I'll go ahead and cut this, and then I'll bring it right back so you guys can see. Hopefully it's going to fit well. All right, not that difficult to do. Just did I don't know, a couple minutes worth of cutting and sanding to get it to look like that little kind of little, I don't know, plesiosaur with the top of its head cut off. All right, so this part here will just go ahead, and now it will slide into this position. We're still going to have the gap. Let me get this thing kind of somewhat straight. We still have that little teeny gap that we want up here by the valve cover. and it's minimal. I mean, it's real minimal. So once I paint this black, I may even probably come in and spray paint the valve cover black as well, just because it'll blend in better with the rest of the part of this whole head up here is going to be all black. And I think the top of the valve covers up here, I think were silver. I'll confirm on that. So right here we're sitting pretty good. There's always going to be a little bit more tweaking for me to do to get this completely ready to go. Now the next conundrum. This was the easy part. Let's go ahead and pull this out. This, put the spark plug in. I'm not going to tighten it down all the way. It's just going to be making it easier for me to get the thing in and out. Now when this comes down and clips down on the top of it, it's not 90 degrees. So I may see if I can modify this. I may see if I can modify it. If it was at 90, it would drop down and then it would be very minimal. I'm going to have to cut out of this. Now, with it sticking up proud like that, I'm going to have to come in and pretty much run a channel right down the center. So I'll let you see it from the top side. It's going to start here underneath the top cylinder, and it's going to run back. Let me get a confirmation on this one. It's going to run back to about here. So here to here, there's going to be a channel cut right down the center. Once again, we do have support, and it's all glued in place, so I don't think it's going to come apart. So let me go ahead and I'm going to make my mark right now, and then I'm going to go in and cut this channel out and see how much it's going to take so that we can drop this down over the top and not have too much of it sticking up here between the cylinder heads. That's what I'm saying. This is the tough part. All right, there it is. A little bit wider than I wanted to go, but it's going to have to be, I don't want it too snug down inside there because I'm going to have a lot of heat trying to exit the top of the cylinder, so I kind of want to have it so we've got airflow through going through. So this is, it's not all tidied up, but it works. So let me go ahead and show you how it fits. This part, as per usual, slides down inside, drops right over the top, right down onto the deck, and that's where it's going to sit, and it's not hitting anywhere, and you guys can probably hardly see it. It's going to pop through very nicely, especially when this is all sprayed black. So this is going to sit here, and then once again this part's going to come on inside and not roll off the, there we go, not roll off the table. That would be bad. So at this point it's going to sit just like this, and all I've got to do is go ahead and get the little crossbar set up. But as for right now, that's where this one is going to stop. Just because I've got to go ahead, I want to make sure everything is covered, and I'm talking everything is ready to go. This will probably be the last piece that I'm going to be putting together to put on the plane. And it was the biggest pain in the butt. I've never done one before, but at least now that I've done one, I pretty much know what would happen if I ever had to do another one. And for you guys that are going to try to do this and put one of the NGH 38cc 4-strokes up on the top, this is what you're going to have to do. So I knew it was going to be a pain in the butt, and I dragged my feet far too long on it, and it was still a big pain in the butt. It was probably, you could probably get it done in about maybe a full day. This is day 2 for me, and it's a whole lot of banging your head against the wall trying to figure out how you want to work around the valve cover. I've never had to put something together and beat it up this much. So anyway, so everything's taken care of. All I got to do at this point is relocate the front mount, because when I was putting the front mount in, I went to slide this in, I couldn't get the cowling in because this, according to the plans, where it had to go was way in the wrong spot. So this will end up going down, and right about there, this will be coming in probably right about, and this is going to be a tough one, probably right about here. And it's going to be underneath the spark plug wire. But at the same time, once I get this thing screwed up, I can get it off and I can still get everything taken care of. Just pop the spark plug wire out and then go ahead and pull the cowling off. So even though it's going to loop over the top of this one, I'll be okay with that. So as you guys can see by the angle of attack of the sun on the side of my face, sun's going down. It's going to be dark here in about an hour, and I need to get everything all cleaned up back in the shop. So let's go ahead, let's just call this a video, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm back down in the shop.